Have you ever felt like you're stuck, no matter how hard you try to move forward? Like something's holding you back from achieving your dreams? We all have dreams. Dreams that fuel our passion, push us to work harder, and give us a reason to keep going every single day. Dreams are the heart of what keeps us moving. They are the vision of something bigger, something better. They're the spark that ignites our motivation, whether it's pursuing a career, building a business, achieving personal growth, or just become the best version of ourselves. We all have these deep, unspoken desires. And the truth is, it's these dreams that push us through the toughest days, especially when life gets hard. But what if I told you there's a trap, one that many fall into without even realizing it, that's stopping you from reaching those dreams? Here's the hard truth. There's something that might be holding you back, something sneaky, something that often goes unnoticed. It's not that you don't have the talent, the resources, or the time to pursue your dreams. In fact, many of us have those things, maybe even in abundance. But there's an invisible force at play, and it might be silently sabotaging your efforts. It's not a lack of talent, resources, or time, but something much more dangerous. What's this force? It's the trap of self-doubt, fear of failure, and comfort zone. These are the mental barriers that prevent you from taking the leap, from stepping outside what feels comfortable. This is the trap I want to talk about today. Too often, we mistakenly believe that success is about having the perfect tools, the best strategy, or the right connections. But in reality, if your mindset isn't aligned with your dreams, none of those things will matter. This trap keeps you in a loop of hesitation and procrastination. And the more you fall into it, the harder it becomes to break free. Let's talk about this trap and how it's secretly ruining your potential. The comfort zone feels safe, predictable, and easy. It's where we're most at ease, where everything feels just right. But here's the catch. The comfort zone is a silent killer of dreams. It convinces you that staying where you are is easier than pushing forward, and it lulls you into thinking there's no need for change. The irony? The comfort zone keeps you trapped in place, while your dreams are waiting on the other side of fear, uncertainty, and discomfort. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself if your comfort zone is really serving you? Or is it quietly stealing your potential? Failure is the biggest monster under the bed for so many of us. The thought of failing is paralyzing. The fear of not being good enough, or worse, of being judged, often keeps us from even starting. But here's something I want you to consider. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. It's the lessons, the insights, and the resilience we build from failing that ultimately lead to success. The more we let the fear of failure rule us, the more we end up living a life of regret, wondering, what if I had tried? What if you could reframe failure as a necessary step toward success? What if failure wasn't something to fear, but something to embrace as part of the journey? There's this constant voice in the back of our heads. Am I good enough? What if I'm not ready? What if I mess up? Self-doubt can paralyze even the most talented people. And when it combines with perfectionism, it can keep you stuck in a cycle of never feeling ready to take action. Perfectionism is an illusion. It doesn't exist. It's a way of avoiding the fear of making mistakes or being judged. Progress, not perfection, is what leads to success. How much time are you wasting trying to be perfect? And how much more could you accomplish if you let go of the need for everything to be flawless? Stagnation. The longer you stay in your comfort zone or let fear dictate your decisions, the more you stagnate. The growth you seek is found outside of your comfort zone. Missed opportunities. Every day you let fear, self-doubt, or perfectionism control your actions is a day you're missing out on opportunities to grow, to learn, and to get closer to your dreams. The false promise of security. The comfort zone feels safe, but it's an illusion. It's the false belief that staying where you are is more secure than stepping into the unknown. But the only true security is the confidence you build in yourself through action. Shift your mindset about failure. Stop seeing failure as a setback. It's not a reflection of your worth or ability. It's feedback. Each failure is an opportunity to learn and improve. Reframe failure as a part of the process of growth and mastery. Growth requires discomfort. Every new level, every new challenge will feel uncertain at first. But that's the point. Discomfort means you're stretching beyond what you know, which means you're growing. Don't wait until everything is perfect. Take small, manageable steps. The key is consistency. Show up every day, take imperfect action, and build momentum. Confidence doesn't come from wishing for it. It comes from doing. The more action you take, even if it's imperfect, the more confident you'll become. What is the one thing you've been holding back on because of fear, perfectionism, or self-doubt? What would it look like if you stepped out of your comfort zone, embraced failure, and focused on progress rather than perfection? The trap of fear, self-doubt, and comfort is powerful, but it's not invincible. You have the ability to break free from it. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a victory in itself. So, take that first step today. Your dreams are waiting for you, but they can only become a reality when you move beyond the trap that's holding you back. It's easy to talk about chasing your dreams, but when it comes down to it, there's a powerful, often invisible force that holds us back: the fear of failure. This fear isn't always something dramatic or obvious. Sometimes it's that quiet voice in the back of your mind that whispers, "What if I fail?" Or "What if I'm not good enough?" Or "What if I try and it doesn't work?" We've all heard these thoughts at some point, and they can be incredibly paralyzing. They create a barrier between you and your dreams, feeding a constant loop of what-ifs. Instead of taking the leap, we hesitate, we second-guess, and we retreat back into our comfort zone. But here's the truth: that voice is not protecting you. It's holding you back. This fear isn't about failure in the way we typically imagine it. Failing a test, losing competition, or something dramatic like that. No, the failure this fear speaks of is a fear of not being perfect or successful right away. It's a fear of taking action and not seeing immediate results, or worse, seeing no results at all. This question makes failure seem like the worst possible outcome. But in reality, failure is often our best teacher. It's a part of the process. Every successful person has failed. It's a natural part of growth. But our fear makes us believe that failing means we're not good enough, when actually, failure shows us where we can improve. This is an attack on your self-worth. It says that you're somehow incapable of succeeding. But what if the truth is that you are good enough, and you just need to step up and try, despite your doubts? This fear traps you in indecision. But here's the key: what if it does work? What if the only thing standing between you and your dream is this very fear of trying? So, I ask you, how much of your energy is spent on fear? Fear that stops you from moving forward, from trying new things, from stepping outside your comfort zone? The irony here is that fear of failure is often the greatest failure itself, because it keeps us stuck in a loop of inaction. What are the only things standing between you and your dreams is your own fear of stepping into the unknown. This is an important question to reflect on, because sometimes the most dangerous thing we can do is let fear dictate our actions. It's not the failure that's dangerous. It's the avoidance of trying. The real risk lies in never taking that first step, never attempting to push past the fear. The only way to truly fail is to not try at all. Now, let's talk about another part of the trap: the comfort zone. The comfort zone is a place we all love to be in. It's easy, familiar, and predictable. It feels safe. But here's the tricky part: the comfort zone is a trap. It's not a place of growth. It's a place of stagnation. Imagine you're in a cage. The door is wide open, but you're too afraid to step out. Why? Because you're scared of what might be beyond the door. The unknown feels more frightening than the comfort of staying inside, even though staying inside means you're not progressing, you're not growing, you're not living up to your potential. The comfort zone is like staying in a comfortable, warm bed. It feels nice, it's cozy, but if you never get out of bed, you will miss the opportunities that exist outside it. You will miss out on experiences that help you grow, learn, and ultimately achieve your dreams. Here's what makes the comfort zone so dangerous. It tricks you into thinking that staying where you are is better than stepping into the unknown. It whispers that the risk of failure is too much to bear, and it keeps you locked in place, paralyzed by the idea of what could go wrong, rather than what could go right. But the reality is, growth only happens when we step out of that comfort zone. It's only when we move into the unknown, even if it feels scary, that we find out what we're truly capable of. We might stumble, we might fail, but those experiences teach us the lessons we need to succeed. What the only thing standing between you and your dreams is your own fear of stepping into the unknown. The trap of the comfort zone is insidious. It doesn't appear dangerous at first. It lulls us into believing that everything is fine and that there's no need to change. But remember, the longer we stay in our comfort zone, the further we drift away from what we could become. The longer we avoid stepping outside that zone, the longer it will take for us to get where we truly want to go. Both the fear of failure and the comfort zone are mental traps. They live in our minds, dictating our actions or inactions, based on a false belief that staying where we are is safer than trying something new. But staying where we are doesn't lead to progress. It leads to stagnation. The real question is, how much longer are you willing to let these fears control your life? Are you willing to risk stepping into the unknown, even if it's uncomfortable? Are you willing to fail, knowing that failure is simply a step on the path to success? When you face the fear of failure and break free from the comfort zone, you'll discover that the world outside is not as scary as it seems. In fact, it's full of opportunities, growth, and the chance to make your dreams a reality. So, ask yourself again, what are the only things standing between you and your dreams is your own fear of stepping into the unknown. The door is wide open. Now, it's up to you to step through it. What is stagnation? Stagnation is like standing still in a fast-moving current. You might feel like you're not going backward, but you're certainly not moving forward either. The danger of staying in your comfort zone is that often leads to the sense of stagnation. When you refuse to step out of your safe, familiar space, you unknowingly start to limit your own growth. You may have big dreams, but without taking risks, those dreams can remain as just that, dreams. Stagnation isn't always dramatic or obvious. Sometimes it's a slow, quiet fade where you don't even realize time is passing by. Every time you decide not to take a risk because of fear of failure, you're making a trade-off. You're choosing not to fail, but that also means you're choosing not to grow. You're passing up experiences, challenges, and lessons that would have shaped you into a more capable, resilient person. Avoiding failure keeps you safe, yes, but it also keeps you stuck. Think about this. How many times have you hesitated to try something new because you were afraid of how it might turn out? Maybe it was starting that business, speaking in front of an audience, or asking for that promotion. The opportunities to learn, to grow, and to experience life in its fullest potential are all around us. But each time you shy away, you miss out. Imagine you're trying to learn a new skill. Let's say, playing an instrument. If you only practice when you're in the mood, only when everything feels right, you might never improve. But if you were to push through discomfort and failure, playing through the awkward stages and the mistakes, you'd notice improvement over time. The same goes for pursuing your dreams. Each moment spent hesitating is a moment you're not moving forward. Every day you stay in your comfort zone, you're letting those opportunities slip away without even realizing it. It's easy to think that staying comfortable today won't have any long-term effects. But imagine this. A year, 5 years, or even 10 years from now, when you look back and realize how much time you spent avoiding discomfort, only to find that your dreams are still out of reach. What's most alarming about staying in your comfort zone is that the consequences aren't immediately visible. It's not like you're losing everything overnight. But over time, this avoidance of risk and failure creates a life where you don't see the progress you're hoping for. The dreams you had, once full of passion and excitement, start to feel more like distant fantasies, unreachable and unrealized. In the short term, staying in the comfort zone feels good. It feels safe. But the longer you wait, the more you may begin to feel like your dreams are slipping through your fingers. Maybe your career has plateaued. Maybe your relationships feel stagnant. Or perhaps your personal growth has slowed down because you're no longer challenging yourself. This isn't meant to scare you. This is a wake-up call. The good news is, it's never too late to start taking action. But the longer you wait, the more you risk missing out on the life you really want to live. One of the hardest things to come to terms with later in life is the idea of what could have been. When you look back and realize that you never even tried to pursue your dreams because you were too afraid, the weight of that regret can be overwhelming. It's not about failure. It's about never giving yourself a chance to succeed. And the truth is, this kind of regret can stay with you for a long time. It can affect your mental and emotional well-being, making you feel like you wasted precious time that could have been used to build a life you've always wanted. Take a moment to reflect. How many opportunities have you passed up because you were too afraid of failing? If you're honest with yourself, how often do you let fear dictate your decisions? It's easy to point fingers at external circumstances or other people, but ultimately, your fear of failure could be the biggest thing standing between you and your dreams. The real cost isn't just about missed opportunities. It's about the future you've sacrificed. It's about the person you could have become but never did because you were too afraid of stepping outside your comfort zone. By avoiding risk, you are actively choosing not to grow, not to change, and not to evolve. And let's be clear, comfort is often an illusion. What seems comfortable today can turn into the source of regret tomorrow. Comfort in the present can lead to dissatisfaction in the future. So, when you stay in your comfort zone, you're not just avoiding failure. You're avoiding your own potential. I want to challenge you with a gentle question. What if you stopped waiting for everything to be perfect and just started taking one small step toward your dream? Just one small action each day can set in motion the change you need. It's not about making giant leaps. It's about making consistent, courageous steps, even if they feel uncomfortable. You're capable of so much more than you think. Don't let fear keep you in the shadows of what you could be. Yes, stepping out of your comfort zone is scary. Yes, failure is a part of the journey. But every time you face that fear, you're choosing to grow. And every time you take a step forward, you're one step closer to realizing your dreams. So, I ask you again, what's the cost of staying comfortable? And what would your life look like if you started breaking free from that comfort today? It's never too late to begin. Why we fall into this trap? Fear of judgment. How many of us have hesitated to take that first step toward our dreams because we were worried about what others would think? It's a common experience. We wonder, what will they say? Will they think I'm not good enough? Will they judge me for trying? This fear is powerful. It's like a constant voice in our head telling us to stay small, to stay safe, because the risk of judgment feels so overwhelming. We begin to second-guess ourselves, worrying that if we fail, others will see us as less capable or even foolish. The truth is, this fear often holds us back from making any progress at all. But here's the truth. Most people are more focused on their own lives and on judging you. And those who do judge, their opinions don't define your worth or your potential. The people who will truly support you are the ones who understand that growth comes from trying and failing, not from staying comfortable and invisible. What would happen if, for just a moment, you stopped worrying about others' judgment? What if you took that risk anyway and trusted that the journey was more important than the opinion of others? Another trap that many of us fall into is perfectionism. We wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect set of circumstances before we act. It's easy to believe that everything must be flawless before we begin. After all, who wants to fail, right? The problem with perfectionism is that it's an illusion. There's no such thing as a perfect time or a perfect plan. No matter how hard we try, the conditions we dream of will never be exactly as we envision. In reality, waiting for perfection often means waiting forever. Perfectionism is a form of self-doubt dressed as discipline. It's a way of hiding from the discomfort of starting before we're fully ready. The truth is, the most successful people aren't perfect. They're willing to take imperfect steps, to learn as they go, and to adjust along the way. How much of your time have you spent waiting for things to be perfect before you take action? What if instead of waiting for the right moment, you simply started with what you have and adjusted as you learned? We've all faced setbacks in our lives. Sometimes, these past failures can feel like heavy weights, lingering in our minds and telling us that we're not good enough. We might ask ourselves, if I couldn't succeed before, why would it work this time? Failures can be incredibly painful, and when we don't process them properly, they can become mental barriers. They trick us into believing that our potential is limited, that we're defined by the mistakes we've made, and that we're destined to fall short again. These thoughts become self-fulfilling prophecies, preventing us from taking the very actions that could lead to success. But failure doesn't define us, it refines us. Every failure is a lesson, an opportunity to learn and grow. The most successful people are not those who have never failed, but those who have faced failure. learn from it, and continue moving forward despite it. Failure is simply a stepping stone on the path to success. How have your past failures shaped the way you see your own potential? What if those failures weren't signs of your weakness, but rather important stepping stones to your eventual success? When you take a step back and reflect on these points, fear of judgment, perfectionism, and past failures, can you see how they've quietly kept you from pursuing your dreams? These mental traps don't have to hold power over you. In fact, they can be the very things that help you grow once you acknowledge them and choose to break free. The path to success isn't smooth. It's filled with bumps, setbacks, and challenges. But the key is not to be discouraged by them. It's to embrace them as opportunities to learn, grow, and evolve. What if every mistake, every failure, and every moment of doubt could be seen as an invitation to step closer to your dreams, not further away from them? Breaking free from the trap. In order to break free from the trap that holds us back from pursuing our dreams, it's essential to shift our mindset and adopt a new approach to failure, discomfort, and perfection. Let's explore these concepts in a diligent and humble way, breaking them down so that we can truly understand how to move forward, no matter where we are in our journey. Failure isn't the end. It's just feedback. Every time you fail, you learn something new, and it brings you closer to success. It's easy to view failure as the opposite of success, something to avoid at all costs. But the truth is, failure is not an endpoint. It's a process. Imagine a child learning to walk. Every time they fall, it's not a defeat. It's simply part of the learning curve. Similarly, when you fail in any part of your life, whether it's your career, relationships, or personal goals, it's not an indication of your worth or ability. It's an opportunity to grow. Failure teaches you valuable lessons. It shows you what works and what doesn't. It helps you refine your approach, test new ideas, and ultimately get closer to your goals. When you fail, you gain experience, resilience, and wisdom. These qualities are essential for long-term success. Instead of feeling discouraged by failure, look at it as a teacher that is guiding you. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Or how can I adjust my approach next time? Celebrate every failure as a milestone in your growth. When you fail, it means you're stepping outside your comfort zone and trying something new. That in itself is an accomplishment. Can you think of a past failure that, in hindsight, actually taught you something valuable? How did it ultimately bring you closer to your success? Growth happens in discomfort. The moment you step out of your comfort zone is the moment you start to evolve. Embrace the struggle because it's leading you toward your dreams. Growth doesn't happen when things are easy. It happens when we push ourselves to do things that scare us, things that make us feel uncomfortable. The truth is, if you're always comfortable, you're likely not growing. The greatest personal transformation comes from the challenges and discomforts we face along the way. This discomfort can take many forms. Trying something new, facing your fears, or stepping into unfamiliar territory. Whether it's making a difficult decision or learning a new skill, the more you push through discomfort, the more you evolve. When you're faced with discomfort, your limits are tested. You push beyond what you thought was possible, and you realize that you're capable of more than you imagined. Facing challenges strengthens your mental and emotional resilience. Each uncomfortable situation helps you become more adaptable and better equipped to handle future obstacles. Change your relationship with discomfort. Instead of avoiding discomfort, try to embrace it as a sign of progress. Understand that it's a natural part of the growth process. The more you embrace it, the easier it becomes. Take small risks. Start by taking small steps outside of your comfort zone. You don't have to make a giant leap right away. The key is consistency and gradual growth. What's one thing that makes you uncomfortable, but you know would help you grow if you faced it? Can you take just one small step toward that discomfort today? Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Take small, imperfect steps forward. Every little action counts. Perfectionism is a trap that often keeps us stuck. We wait for the right moment, the perfect plan, or the ideal set of circumstances before we take action. The truth is, waiting for everything to be perfect is a way of avoiding the discomfort of failure and uncertainty. Perfection doesn't exist in real life. There will always be something that could be better, something that could be improved. If you wait for perfection, you'll never get started. Every moment you spend waiting is a moment you could have spent moving forward. Progress comes from action, not perfection. How to focus on action instead of perfection. Start where you are. Begin with what you have. You don't need everything to be perfect to make progress. Every small action you take, whether it's making a phone call, sending an email, or starting a new project, moves you closer to your goal. Fail forward. Understand that your first attempts may not be perfect, but they'll teach you what doesn't work and get you closer to the right solution. How to take imperfect action. Set small, achievable goals. Instead of trying to do everything perfectly, break down your big goals into smaller, manageable steps. Focus on taking action in the right direction, no matter how small it may seem. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Celebrate each step forward, no matter how minor. Recognize that progress, however imperfect, is still progress. What would your life look like if you stopped waiting for the perfect moment and just started taking action, no matter how small? What could you accomplish if you took that first imperfect step today? Breaking free from the trap of fear, perfectionism, and comfort is essential if you want to achieve your dreams. By shifting your perspective on failure, embracing discomfort, and choosing action over perfection, you can start making real progress toward your goals. These small, consistent steps will compound over time and bring you closer to the life you've always dreamed of. So ask yourself this: how can I start embracing failure as feedback instead of fearing it? What uncomfortable challenge can I face today to grow? What small, imperfect action can I take right now to get closer to my dreams? Remember, it's not about achieving perfection. It's about moving forward one step at a time with courage and determination. Every small action, every failure, every discomfort you face is part of the journey to your success. Focus on progress, not perfection. The struggle with perfectionism. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that in order to be successful, everything has to be perfect. We wait for the right moment, the right conditions, and the right plan before taking action. But perfectionism can be paralyzing. We get caught up in the desire to do things flawlessly, which often leads to procrastination. We tell ourselves, it's not good enough yet, or I'm not ready. This mindset can keep us stuck in place, waiting for an ideal scenario that may never come. The truth about progress: in reality, perfection is a myth. What truly matters is progress. Progress is about growth, learning, and moving forward, even if it's just by a small step. Every small action you take builds upon a previous one. And over time, these small actions compound into significant progress. The key is to keep moving forward, no matter how imperfect your path may seem. Instead of being fixated on being perfect, shift your focus to making progress. It's the effort, the consistency, and the small victories that lead to long-term success. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may feel, because each step brings you closer to your goal. Even the tiniest steps move you forward. What matters most is that you're moving, not that you're moving perfectly. Understanding consistency. It's tempting to think that achieving your dreams requires huge, dramatic changes all at once. We often hear stories of overnight success, and it can feel like we're failing if we're not making huge strides every day. But success isn't built in big leaps. It's built on consistent effort over time. Consistency is about showing up day after day, even when the progress feels slow. Why consistency matters. Consistency compounds. Small, consistent actions build habits, and habits, in turn, shape our lives. Every day you show up, whether it's for your dreams, your health, or your personal growth, you're laying the groundwork for future success. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't happen immediately, but remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. If you keep showing up, you'll look back one day and realize how far you've come. Think of consistency as the steady beat of a drum that keeps you on track. You might not notice huge changes in a single day, but over weeks, months, or even years, those small actions accumulate, one step at a time. Keep going, no matter how small the steps seem. Your dreams are unfolding bit by bit. It's not about big leaps, but consistent effort. Little by little, your dreams become reality when you show up every day. Fear is a natural response when we face the unknown. But too often, we see fear as something to avoid, something that holds us back. We associate fear with danger or failure. So we try to stay within our comfort zones, away from anything that might trigger that feeling of unease. However, what if fear wasn't a signal to stop, but a sign that you're pushing your boundaries? Imagine reframing fear as excitement. That flutter in your stomach, that rush of adrenaline, it's the body's response to something new, something that matters to you. When you feel fear, it's often because you're stepping outside your comfort zone, trying something new, or pursuing a dream that challenges you. Instead of seeing fear as a wall, view it as energy that can propel you forward if you allow it to. Next time you feel afraid, instead of retreating, ask yourself, what if this fear is a sign that I'm on the edge of something great? By reframing fear as excitement, you give yourself the courage to keep moving forward. Fear is not a barrier. It's a signal that you're growing, that something important is on the horizon. What if you could see fear as excitement instead of a barrier? What if fear is just energy, urging you to step into something new? What if your fear wasn't something to avoid, but something to embrace? Could fear be a sign that you're on the verge of growth? Fear often gets a bad reputation, but when we challenge ourselves to see it from a different perspective, we realize it might be pointing us toward growth. It's easy to avoid discomfort, but growth doesn't happen in our comfort zones. Fear is a signal that we're on the verge of something bigger, something transformative. What does fear feel like in your life? Is it stopping you, or is it urging you to take action? Can you embrace the discomfort that comes with growth, knowing that it's part of the journey to achieving your dreams? Embrace your fear. It's not something to avoid. It's a signal that you're on the edge of something new, something amazing. As you begin to focus on progress instead of perfection, show up consistently and reframe fear's excitement, you'll notice a shift in your mindset. These changes might not happen overnight, but they will set you on a path of growth, learning, and achievement. And in time, your dreams will no longer feel distant or unreachable. They'll be within your grasp. The key is to take one step at a time and trust the process. Fear, perfectionism, and comfort zones, they're not just obstacles. They're traps that prevent us from realizing our true potential. Fear, this is perhaps the most powerful force that holds us back. It whispers doubts, tells us we're not good enough, and convinces us that failure is something to avoid at all costs. But fear is not the enemy, it's a signal. It's a signal that we're on the edge of growth. It's natural to fear the unknown, but what if that fear is simply the doorway to the new and better version of ourselves? Perfectionism, the desire for everything to be perfect before we take action, is another trap. We wait for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, or the perfect plan. But the truth is, perfection doesn't exist. The pursuit of perfection paralyzes us into inaction. It keeps us stuck in a state of not yet, when the key to progress is to accept imperfection and begin moving forward regardless. The comfort zone is a space where everything feels familiar and it's easy to stay. But nothing grows in the comfort zone. When we're comfortable, we're not challenging ourselves. We're not taking risks. We're not evolving. Comfort keeps us in a safe bubble. But it's also the place where dreams go to die because we don't push ourselves to take the steps that matter. The trap is powerful, but not invincible. This trap may seem unbreakable at times, but it's not invincible. The key to escaping it is within you. You have the power to break free from these limits by shifting your mindset. When you start seeing fear as a sign of opportunity, perfectionism as a barrier to progress, and comfort as the enemy of growth, you begin to step out and take bold actions. Shift your mindset. The first step in breaking free is a mental shift. Start by acknowledging that fear is not something to avoid, but something to understand. When you feel that fear, see it as an invitation to grow. That nervousness or discomfort is often a sign that you're doing something that matters, something that's pushing you closer to your dreams. Shift from perfection to progress. Embrace the fact that progress, no matter how small, is more important than perfection. The small steps you take today, even if they're messy or imperfect, are what will eventually build a path to your dreams. So, let go of the need to get everything right and focus on the next step, however small. Step out of comfort. If you want your life to change, you need to leave your comfort zone. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also where growth happens. Every time you step out, you stretch your boundaries, and you become more capable, more resilient, and more ready to face the next challenge. It's through discomfort that we gain strength. Now, I want you to pause and reflect for a moment. What's one thing you've been avoiding because you're afraid of failure? Maybe the big decision you've been putting off, or a small step you've hesitated to take because you're not sure if it will work out. It could be anything: starting a project, having an important conversation, or simply taking the first step toward your dream. Ask yourself, what is one small step you can take today to start breaking free from that trap? This is where the change begins, in small, consistent actions. It might seem insignificant at first, but every step, no matter how tiny, brings you closer to your dream. The key is to stop waiting for everything to align perfectly. Start now, even if it's just a baby step. Your dreams are worth the struggle. Your dreams are worth every bit of struggle. Yes, the journey will be tough. Yes, it will demand courage, vulnerability, and perseverance. But remember, growth doesn't happen in easy, comfortable places. The best versions of ourselves are forged through challenges and discomfort. Don't let fear or the desire for comfort hold you back from the life you're meant to live. The world needs a unique gift that only you can offer. And that's why it's so important to push through the fear, step out of your comfort zone and move forward. Even if it's just a small step today. Step into the unknown and don't look back. Take that first step toward your future today. Every journey starts with a single step, and today you have the chance to take it. Don't let fear steal your dreams, embrace it, and let it fuel your growth. Remember, the biggest trap you can fall into is the one that tells you your dreams aren't worth pursuing. Don't let fear, doubt, or anyone else's negativity keep you from what you're capable of. Stay focused, stay committed, and never stop believing in yourself. If you're ready to break free and take control of your future, hit that subscribe button, because we're just getting started. Keep chasing your dreams and, as always, stay strong. See you in the next one.